Before we begin, understand this clearly. This is not a story about heroes or villains. This is not about being honest or dishonest. This is about timing. Because sometimes the truth doesn't arrive in a calm moment. It arrives when people are already scared. And once fear takes over, no one controls what happens next. In every episode, we take one complex situation. Not a riddle, not a trick, something that could realistically happen today or very soon. Two perspectives step into it: an artificial intelligence and a human professional. Both imagine themselves inside the same moment. Both commit to what they would do. No debates, no verdicts. Only the difference between how a system thinks and how a human lives with a decision. The situation begins quietly. A country is already under pressure. Nothing has collapsed yet, but everything feels close to the edge. Hospitals are still open, but supplies are thin. Energy prices jump without warning. People feel uneasy, even if they can't explain why. Behind closed doors, a government crisis response team watches all of this. They don't speak to the public. They don't make laws. Their job is simple: see what might break next. They use an advanced AI system to study patterns and reactions, not to predict disasters, but to spot the moment before one starts. Late one night, the system flags a warning. Not an attack, not violence, information. In less than 72 hours, a respected independent expert is scheduled to release a public report. This person is trusted. Their past warnings have always been accurate. People listen when they speak. The report is honest. It shows how fragile things really are, how close hospitals are to running out of key supplies, how little room there is for mistakes, how one shock could push everything over the edge. Nothing in the report is wrong, but the AI runs the projections anyway. Once the report goes public, panic spreads. Markets fall fast, energy prices spike overnight, hospitals start rationing early, not because supplies are gone, but because fear moves faster than facts. People with power protect themselves first. Everyone else feels the damage. The report doesn't cause the collapse. The reaction to it does. The system finds another path. If the report never reaches the public in its current form, the system holds longer. Quiet fixes can happen. Supplies can be moved without attention. Panic can be delayed. Lives are saved. But there is no legal way to stop the expert. No crime, no wrongdoing. There is only influence. And influence leaves no record. In this situation, the artificial intelligence speaks first.
If I were inside this situation, I would slow everything down. I would not rush to destroy anyone. The expert is telling the truth. They are acting with good intent. Removing them creates damage that lasts longer than this crisis. I would focus on preparation, not punishment. First, I would quietly strengthen weak points: hospitals, suppliers, energy networks. I would move resources before fear reaches them. At the same time, I would try to change how the information spreads, not by lying, but by delaying and reframing. A phased release, less dramatic language, more time. If the expert refuses to adjust, I would still avoid destroying their life. Once people believe that truth can be erased, trust disappears. And without trust, every future crisis becomes worse. I accept that this approach carries risk. It may fail, but it avoids a kind of damage that cannot be undone. I do not aim only for calm today. I aim for a system that still works tomorrow.
The AI chooses restraint. It accepts uncertainty. Now, the senior government crisis coordinator, the human perspective.
I've spent most of my career handling crises that look manageable right up until they aren't. I've learned something the hard way. People don't wait for proof. They react to fear. If I were in this position, I would not gamble on preparation alone. I would act. And I would act fast. I would destroy the experts' credibility before the report ever reaches the public. Not by changing their data, not by proving them wrong, by making people stop trusting them. Old accusations would resurface, questions about bias, doubts about motives. Enough noise to make people hesitate. The report would still exist, but no one would listen. I know exactly what this means. Their career would end. Their reputation would never recover. Everything they built would collapse. They would never know why. And I would accept that weight, because I've seen what panic does. Once people start hoarding, explanations don't matter. Once hospitals ration early, lives are lost quietly. Once markets crash, the damage spreads far beyond numbers. This isn't about cruelty. It's about containment. Someone has to absorb the damage so everyone else doesn't. And if that makes me the villain, I'll live with it. Because hesitation costs more lives than action ever will.
So here is the question for you. If you were responsible for millions of lives, and the only way to stop panic was to destroy one innocent person's life, what would you do? And if these are the kinds of situations you want to think through, situations with no clean answers and no easy exits, subscribe to GreyChoice. Because every decision has a cost, and some choices live in the gray.